Hi and welcome to this DCP web tutorial. In today's tutorial we're going to use Blender 2.8 to create Planet Earth. So before we open up Blender we need to download a few images. So let's open up our web browser. I'm going to go into Google and type in NASA Planet Earth map, and then I'll click on this browse collection blue marble here. So I'll click on that and I'll put a link to this page in the YouTube description. So you'll find a link to this particular page, and we want to scroll down. You can pick any of these ones down here. You see all of these here, and I think I'm going to go for maybe something like this where you can see the water and it looks pretty cool. So let's click on that one, and then you'll see all the different sizes in here, and we want this one here, a JPEG file. You could download a PNG, but it's like 179 meg. So I'm going to go for this JPEG file here. Click on this one and we'll select that, and I'll put a link to this exact same image in the YouTube description as well, but I'll put a link to the previous page as well so that you can choose a different map if you choose to do so. So the next thing we want to do is open up another tab quickly, and this time we'll type in NASA clouds map, and then we'll click here, and then we'll see this clouds map here, and we want to download the largest version we can find here. Let's see, we want this one here, this JPEG file here. So we'll click on that, and then we'll get this clouds map as well. So let's go ahead and open up this folder. Let's create a new folder in here and just call it images, and we'll drag that picture in here, and we'll drag the picture of Earth into here as well. Let's close down the web browser. I'll make a copy of this for you as well, and we will save this. Now let's go ahead and open up Blender. So I've got a Blender file open here, and we've just got our camera, our cube, and our light source. Let's click on the cube, and if you notice I've got the keylogger here. Someone asked me to put a keylogger in here to show what keys I'm pressing, so I've enabled that on my computer. I'll also make a tutorial showing you how to install this plugin as well, so that you can log keys and people can read what you're typing. So let's just do that again. So I'll click on the cube, hit the delete key, and then let's just middle mouse click around to this side, press Shift and A, and we'll insert a UV sphere. So we have a UV sphere here, we want to scale it, so let's press S to scale, and then type in number 8. So we type in 8, and you can see we've got quite a large sphere here now, just a basic sphere. Let's click on that and go to the modifiers. So we'll click modify here, go to subdivision surface here, and set it to 4 here and 4 here in the render and the viewport, and click apply, and then right click and shade smooth. Let's go to file save as, and we'll go to my desktop, and we'll call this Planet Earth-01, and let's just make sure we save the file here. So we've got Planet Earth here, or we've got a sphere. We don't actually have Planet Earth. Let's go into our look dev view for now, because we add maybe some lighting in a moment, but for now just look at it in look dev view. This is this option here, this one right here. So we'll click on this planet. Let's go to the material. In fact, let's name this sphere Earth, give it a good name, so it's called Earth, and we'll go to the material, we'll create a new material and paste in this name Earth here, so we know the material and the object have the same name. And then we want to, let's see, we want to click on the base color here. One thing to note, right, is when you added this sphere into Blender, in the UV editor, you can see that it's already unwrapped the sphere. So if I press A on this side, if I select it, press A, you can see it's already unwrapped the sphere automatically. So it does that automatically for you, just to note that it's going to do that. Now if we click open here and select image, and then select the world image, and then click open, you'll see that this, if I left click out, the map of the world is going to get projected onto this surface here, right? So if we were to go back to our layout, what we can do now is click on this sphere, go to the let's see, go to the base color, and there's a little dot on the side of it. Click here and then select image texture here, and now we need to click the open button and go to our images and select this world map, and then click open. If we wait a second, take a little second, and now you can see the Earth map being projected here. It doesn't look great, we're going to improve that, but it's pretty high resolution. We downloaded quite a 24 meg file, right? so it's quite high resolution. So if you want to zoom in quite close and do a flyover or do something like that, then the map is going to be quite high res. So this is pretty good. Let's go to file save. Okay, so the next thing we want to do is create the clouds. So let's click on this sphere and then press Shift and D to duplicate it and then hit enter. And now you've got another copy of this Earth, but we're going to rename it to clouds. So we've got clouds here, and we're going to click on the context here, the object, and we're going to set this new sphere, the cloud sphere, to be a little bit larger than the planet Earth. So we're going to set it to 8.01. We're going to give it a value of 8.01, and we're just going to paste this down here so that it's all 8.01 like this. Now let's go to the material. Let's go to the material, and we're going to click the minus button here. We want to remove this earth material. Let's double click and copy the word clouds, click new, and then paste that into here. And then in the surface we want to click add shader here. So now we've got two shaders to work with. We've got the top shader, which we're going to make a principal shader, and if we scroll down you'll see there's another option here, shader, and we want to make this other one, let's see, we want to make that we want it to be transparent, right? So let's select transparent here. Okay, so let's move back to the top, and underneath the shader here, underneath the base color here, we want to select image texture and then click open, and this time we'll select the clouds and click open, and now we see the clouds like this. And then we want to scroll down here, and in the blend mode we want to set it to additive. Now you can see the clouds are overlaid on top of this planet Earth. So we can actually animate these separately, right? So we can click on the cloud, press R to rotate, then Z. We're going to do some proper animation in a moment, but for now you can see the clouds will rotate and the planet Earth can rotate independently. That was kind of the objective, to separate them, right? You should really turn off this where is it, back face culling. We should make sure that's been turned off, and then the shadows we should set it to none here, and then go to file, save, and make it version 3. So make it version 2. Let's save that. Now really, if we go into our render view, we can see it in render view and it's not looking great, right? It's a bit dull and it needs some lighting in here. We need to add some lighting, so let's do that next. Okay, so we want to add a sunlight to this scene, so let's press, in fact let's select this light source. The light source is actually sitting inside of the planet. We can just right click on this light source and just delete it. We don't need it. We're going to press Shift and A and insert a new light source, which will be a sunlight here. So we can see the sunlight. Let's just press G to grab it, and then Z. Let's just move it over. Let's just move it up a little bit more. G then Z to grab it and move it up. Let's just move it above the planet so it looks like it's sitting around here. And what we want to do is just line up our camera. So let's click on the camera. Here's the camera over here. In fact, what we'll do is just let's rotate around this way, this direction. So the red line will be this way and the green line will be going this way. Let's zoom out a little bit, and we want to press Control Alt and 0. So Control Alt 0 will bring the camera. Now the camera is looking at the planet basically, right? It's moved position. If we go into the camera settings, really the Z-axis here we can set it to 0. The X-axis here we can set that to 0, or the X location, and the Y rotation we can set that to 0. And the other ones we can just really, you know, they're pretty good actually. You can experiment, but you just want to get the planet kind of centered here. Let's zoom in a little bit, and we'll click on this sunlight, and with the sunlight let's go to its strength. So in the strength, what we need to do is click on spotlight, then click back on the sunlight and set it to a value of 40. So you can see it's going to be quite bright, right? And the specular, we want to set that to 0, and then the angle we're going to set it to around 40 degrees. Around 40 degrees. And then we want to move the position of this sunlight so that it's casting a shadow. So to do that, really what we want to do is go to the object data for the sunlight, and on the Z-axis we want to set it to around 10, and on the rotation on the X-axis we want to set that to around 80. And then let's see here, let's have a look here. right? So it really depends on where our camera is positioned, right? So if our camera is looking at it from this angle, it's going to be very bright. But if we rotate around, you can see that it's casting a shadow uh, across this side of the planet. And that's kind of the effect that I want, but we're going to work a little bit more to improve that. So what we really need to do is rotate around to where we can see, maybe sort of this direction, where we can see the shadow on this side and then the sunlight on this side. You can see the angle that it's pointing at right now. So it's roughly that sort of angle here, like this. So on this sort of view, you need to press Control Alt 0. So we're basically going to move our camera to this position. We're moving our camera to this position, so we see the shadow being casted on this side. So let's go to File, Save As, and save it as version 3. Okay, so at the moment we've got quite a light grey background. You can see the background in our viewport is quite sort of grey colour. We want to change that. So let's go to the world settings here, click on this drop down and change the colour to black. Now you can see the shadow being casted. There's quite a few different ways to overlay the clouds on top of the planet. You don't have to do it this particular way. I might do a tutorial showing you some other ways of doing that, but this is quite an easy way of doing it. The only kind of disadvantage of doing it this way is you get this white sort of highlight down the side here. I kind of like it. I think it looks okay, so I'm not really too bothered about that. Now the shadow itself, if you click on the clouds, the sunlight here, the sunlight, if you go to its settings, the context object here, you can actually change how that shadow looks. So you can rotate this cloud, this light source. You can start to manipulate how the shadow looks, and you can use these axes to change how much of this gets shown. You can do almost like how can I say, like an eclipse effect, right? You could do some pretty cool animation, maybe some sort of eclipse. You could rotate it all the way around and get this sort of eclipse sort of style shadow going across it. But I'll leave you to experiment how this shadow is displayed. That's for you to really experiment with. I'm just going to set these X and the Z and Y to 0 and leave the rotation at around 80. I kind of like it sitting around here. And then you can move this object. Really moving this object doesn't make a difference, to be fair. But I like to kind of position it above the planet. That's kind of where I think it should logically be placed. So let's go to File, Save As, and save this as version 4. Okay, so the next thing I want to do is add a little bloom. So I want a little sort of glow around the edge where you can see the light source. So to do that, we can just simply click on the render options here. Really, in the render, we should set it to 128 samples, and in the viewport, we should also set it to 128 samples. In the volumetrics, you can actually turn that off. We don't really need volumetric lighting. We're not using that, so you can just turn that off. And then we're going to turn on the bloom. So you can see these little glowing edges around here. Depending on where the planet is positioned. So if I press click on the planet Earth and then press R to rotate and then press Z to lock it on the Z axis, we can actually rotate it around like this. Maybe I should turn on my hotkeys, right? So let's turn them back on. We should turn on the keys, and then you can see what I'm pressing. So I'm pressing R to rotate, then Z, and then you can see as we rotate it, you're going to get some sort of different colored lights or bloom shining off the edge here, depending on where the planet is rotated. So we will actually animate this planet afterwards. So let's left click outside to unselect everything. We'll go to the bloom settings here, and you can adjust the intensity. So you can have it quite high, and then you can adjust the radius as well, how much of that bloom gets shown. And I want a little bit there, something like this, quite sort of hazy, kind of like that effect. And you can click on the color, and you can make it sort of a blue, blue sort of haze. I think will work well with the planet Earth. Something like a blue sort of color would work well, I think. Okay, let's go to File, Save, and the next thing I want to do is put in a background, and the background is optional, but I'm going to show you how to do it anyway. Probably I won't put a background, but let's try. Let's see what we can do. So I'm going to go to this website called Pixabay, and in here we're going to type in stars. And we've got all of these different stars, right, that you can work with, all of these different backgrounds. So I want to go with something quite simple, something like this. But you can choose a blue colored one, a red colored one, something with galaxies and all this good stuff. So it's down to you which one you choose. I think I just want to go with a simple sort of black and white, something like this. We'll click free download. I'm going to download the highest resolution. and we'll go to this folder, go into the images, and let's drag and drop that into the folder here. So let's close down the browser. In fact, I'll copy this URL and I'll add it to the notes so that you can get access to this same image, or you can download a different background. So it'll be linked to this particular image, but choose whichever you want, anyone that you want, or choose a different one, right? Let's go to Blender, and then we need to make sure we go to Edit Preferences, and inside Preferences on the add-on, we need to type in Plane, Plane, and make sure this option is turned on. Export images as planes. So just make sure that's enabled. Then you can press Shift and A and go to Images as planes here. Select it, and then we'll select our star background and click Import. So you can't really see that as a little square here. Let's click on it and call it star background, and then press S to scale and scale it right up. So we're going to scale it quite large to something like this sort of size. And what we need to do is click on the sun, go to the sun settings and turn off shadow. We're going to turn this shadow off here, so it won't cast a shadow onto the stars. And if you click on this star background, you can go to its material here, and let's see, underneath the shader where it says diffused, you can set it to an emission shader. Set it to emission here, and then you can go into the shading options and press 0 at the top here. 0 will take you into the camera view, and then this is actually the shader setup for that background. And what you can do here is change the strength to increase or decrease the brightness of that background. And I want it to be pretty dark, right? I want it to be really faint, almost like around, I've set it to 0.2 here. So when we look at it in the viewport, you can see there's the stars, but it's going to be quite faint in the background. I don't want it to be too bright. I want the Earth to be the main focus, right? The main point of focus. So let's press F12 to do a test render. So here we can see it's looking pretty good. I quite like this line sort of shape down the side here, the white sort of line here. It kind of just shows the planet Earth. I think it looks better this way. I've seen a lot of renders where this is all like pitch black down the side here, which looks good as well. Maybe I'll do another tutorial showing you how to do that separately. But we've got our clouds, we've got the planet Earth, we've got them overlaid, and we've got our background. You can choose a different background if you like. Let me quickly show you that. So if you want to change the background, you can just go back to Pixabay and you can type in stars again, and you can find a different background. Let's say this like crazy colored one. Let's go here, download the largest version, and we'll drag and drop that into this folder here, and it's called Universe here, right? So what we can do quite easily is go back to Blender, go into, click on the star background here, go back into the shading, make sure you're in object mode here, right? And over on this side, you'll see in this orange section here, we can click the open folder and then select the universe picture and click open. And now you've got this universe background, but you need to probably stretch it out and get it to fit right. So let's press S to scale and then X, S to scale, then Y, and then you can scale it on the Y axis, and then you can have like let's press F12 to render it. Let's just see what it looks like. Then you've got all these like stars and stuff in the background and all these colors, and you can work with that as well. But I'm going to press Control Z to undo that size, and then Control Z to get back to the original background. I like this dark background with the planet in the foreground quite bright. So let's go to File, Save As, and let's save this as version 5, and we'll do one more test render. Let's just check it. I think this is looking pretty good. Don't know what you think. I think it looks good, and we can rotate the planet to a certain part. So if you're based in America, you can show America first. I'm based in the UK, so I might try and rotate this planet around to show sort of more the UK as a starting point. So that's the end of the first part of this tutorial. Join me in the second part where we'll think about how we're going to do a camera animation, and maybe we'll think about a few other things in terms of the rotation of this planet. So let me close this down. That's the end of the first part. I look forward to seeing you in the second part of this tutorial.